SW 433, take one, smash in.
Action.
That's fine. Here's a playback. Sounds good. One more time, though. We want to add a little more reverb.
In a funny way, this broken glass tells you a lot about what happens at the Walt Disney Studio and how. My name is John Culhane. I'm a writer and journalist and a taper of everything. I've been nosing around this studio for so many years, gathering materials for various books and articles, that when the Disney artists needed a Snoopy villain for their cartoon feature, The Rescuers, they caricatured me and called him Mr. Snoops. Remember? But I'm not upset. It's a kind of immortality. My great-grandchildren will see me as a short, pudgy kidnapper of little girls.
Nice work. Good boys. What, boys? Steady, boys. Down, boys. Heel.
There, Teddy. I won't let them do that to you again. Don't cry.
Now, Teddy. Poor Teddy. All she ever thinks about is that simple bear. Now, you behave or I'll let Nero and Brutus have your old teddy bear.
You will not. Besides, I'm not scared of them like you are, Mr. Snoop.
Ah, don't you sass me. Boys, take this naughty little girl to her room.
And now, here I am back at Disney's to take you snooping around the studio, to show you what goes on backstage. What you've just seen is the recording of a sound effect. Breaking glass, obviously. Let's start by seeing if it worked. Oh, incidentally, that sound effect was needed for the screen version of Ray Bradbury's Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Here it comes, Joe.
Not enough glass. Why don't we try the one we did this morning?
Okay. Here we go.
Yeah, that's great. That's good.
Okay, we'll keep it and go on then.
Good.
In staging that great smash-in over in the sound effects department, the guys probably picked up a few pointers about recording a crash of glass. Even though they've done it many times before, each movie and each break has its own demands. And that's the fascinating thing that always happens around here. It's always a learning experience. Although this is a studio dedicated to producing entertainment, it also embodies Walt Disney's idea of education. Walt often said, "I didn't have any formal education to speak of. I left high school after 1 year, and I only had 1 year of art at night school. But the way to get an education is to do something. You get yourself a problem, and you'll have to do the research to solve it. I have a feeling that's what's missing in our schools. The tackling of the hard job, then the series of, I see now where I was off. That's how you learn." What we're going to do today is poke around and observe how that basic problem research solution formula is applied by various groups of talented men and women here at the studio. The end will always be entertainment, but the means, well, let's see. Up here is a good place to start. The artist who works in this room is a sculptor named Rick Heinrichs. The studio teamed him with an imaginative sketch artist named Tim Burton. And the combination has come up with some delightful concepts and characters. But let them show you. Hi, Rick. Would you mind telling us what you're working on?
Sure. Tim and I have been working on developing some live action as well as animation projects at Disney. We've developed this guy for a Halloween-oriented project, which Tim designed the characters for and conceptualized.
Well, basically, the way that we work is that I'll do a drawing, something like this, and from that, Rick will make a sculpture of it, like this, and then beyond that point, whatever medium we use, in this case, is building a costume. The process continues that way. I'll do a drawing, something like this, and then Rick will do a sculpture, and then from there it would be built into a live set.
Another project that Tim and I worked on together was an experiment with stop-motion animation for which I took Tim's designs and created puppets in three-dimensional sets.
It's basically the story of a little boy who thinks that he's Vincent Price. And it was initially a children's book, but Rick and I made it then into a film. And it comes from my childhood experiences, and as I had sort of a identification, I thought, with Vincent Price, and that I really responded to his torment and anguish and insanity. So these are some of the characters he has to deal with in the film. Here's his aunt and his mother, and as you can see, they don't have heads, but that was part of it from the child's point of view. We never went much past their shoulders. And this was his beautiful wife that haunted him, and his little dog Abercrombie, whom he tormented from time to time. Those are just a few of the things he has to deal with in the film.
For the animation, there was different ways we could have handled it, and we did both bending wire armatures to make the characters move, as well as replacement animation, which is what this represents. Here is a cycle of a walking cat, and we would just simply replace the body over the legs for each of the separate phases through the 24 frames a second of film, and that gave the illusion of the cat walking along the wall in the film.
Vincent Malloy is 7 years old. He's always polite and does what he's told. For a boy his age, he's considerate and nice. But he wants to be just like Vincent Price.
Our current project is for the studio showcase on the Disney Channel, and it's a retelling of Hansel and Gretel. And it basically follows the same story as Hansel and Gretel, just with different elements. We're going to be using, it's going to be in live action with some stop-motion animation and some puppets. And again, it follows the story pretty much. There's the gingerbread house, the witch, and the ovens, two kids who are dumped by their stepmother into the forest. Father, instead of a woodcutter, as he's in the story, is a toy maker. And he creates a whole bunch of different kinds of toys that figure out throughout the film. Each toy has its own look and its own movement and sound, personality. And besides all that, there's a new character in Hansel and Gretel.
I'm Dan, the gingerbread man, and I'm made entirely out of candy.
Let's walk through the back lot to our next stop, which is one of my favorites, the special effects department. In fact, I wrote a whole book about special effects. They won an Academy Award for building the giant squid in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. they have another for Flying Julie Andrews as Mary Poppins.
Take a look. Perhaps it's a witch. Of course not. Witches have brooms. She's answered our advertisement. Rosy cheeks and everything.
And yet another Oscar for those empty suits of armor that defeated the Nazis in Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Excuse me, Mr. Culhane, I think he left